Welcome back. So the time has come to try and go over my Koufax PC. Now in this video, I'm only going to go after slabs and some larger items. I do have a few things on the way, some of the more oddball cards, which I'll be adding to these boxes, I should say. But this is what I have as of right now. So starting off, this is the 19 Stadium Club box topper that was generously given to me in a Papa J break by SSP. So that is the first card that we will look at. So next up we have a 62/65 postcard with Drysdale, Dean Chance, Willie Mays, and Sandy Koufax, and a 4.5. Next up is the 64 Topps Giants in a 5. Next up is a little certified auto. Don't have a date on this one. You have a 64/01 Hall of Fame plaque card autograph. A very early cut Koufax auto. PSA DNA. Here we have another Hall of Fame plaque. We have from Historic Autographs, Kings 2, 1/7. Seems to be a slightly earlier Koufax as well. And for the large items, this is the last one, which I don't see these often, so I was happy to get it when I did. The 62/65 J Publishing Photos, Type 2, and a 4. All right, so that is the oversized slabs and whatnot. Now we'll get into the exact opposite. So I keep these in the same spot. 2 Salada coins. Yeah, both in 7. There are slight variations. It's hard to see though in these. I think there's 4 or 5 different ones. So these are really nice examples at 7. You got 64 Topps coin in a 2. This is cheap. I mean, it's beat up, but it was cheap, so I picked it up because I didn't have one. And then 64 Topps coin. This is a different one. This is the 64 All-Stars, and this is a 7. And of course I drop it. All right, so now with the main slabs, the actual card size slabs, I try my best to go most recent to all the way back to the oldest. Starting off with a 19 Topps, 150 years of baseball, and a 10. I should be putting these back as we go through them. This is the same card, but this is the retail green and 8. Here's the 18 Archives and a 9. Here's 18 Gold Label, Class 2 Blue, numbered to 99 and a 9. Here's the 18 Update Photo Variation in a 10. Here's that same card in a 9. That's the update version. This is the Series 2 version. This is a 10. This one's a 9.5. Here's a 18 Leaf History of Baseball cut auto. Here's a 17 Topps Chrome MLB Award winners green refractor and a 10, which is numbered to 99. Then we have 17 Topps Gypsy Queen, obviously short print, a 9.5. We have the 17 Topps Archives Bazooka, and a 9. And this is a kind of one that people overlook all the time. It's the same, even this design, they overlook it. This is 17 Topps Archives, 82 design, no signature SP, and a 9. Gotta have some Transcendent. This is 16 Transcendent. That one is not numbered. I got a 10 on the auto. Trying to be relatively quick because there's a lot of slabs to go through. 15 Topps Heritage, a Legend retires, and a 5. This set is surprisingly not the easiest to find. 14 Topps Framed Rookie Reprint, black, which is numbered to 199, and a 9. This is the silver frame and a 9, numbered to 99. Another the silver frame and a 9, numbered to 99. There's the 14 Gypsy Queen, mini legs apart sepia, and an 8. This is 14 Finest Vintage Gold Refractor, numbered to 25, and a 10. Here's the 14 Allen Ginter mini black border, and a 9. Here's the full-size regular one, and a 10. Here's the 2011 Topps Update Diamond Anniversary, and a 10. It's the same card, and a 9.5. There's the 07 Upper Deck Masterpieces, and a 9. Great set. Really love the design of the set and the matte finish on it. 2000 Upper Deck Legends, and an 8. A few very similar cards coming up. 98 Donruss Signatures, Significant Signatures Refractor, and a 10. And these are all numbered to 2000. This one's a 10 non-refractor version. There's a 9. And this is just authenticated for a signature. This signature is really streaky, to say the least. And there's a 90 Topps Turn Back the Clock, and a 9. This is 1980 Kramer Sports in an off-brand 9, but again, another one of those inexpensive additions. And you have, yeah, I didn't pay that. Authenticated auto on this one, and that is TCMA from 78. Same card without the signature, grade a 9. There's the 75 Topps Mini, Koufax and Elston Howard, and an off-brand 9.5. There's a blank back, no date on it, authenticated auto. I have two of these, 71 Dell insert magazine cutouts. Somehow I ended up with two of them. They were in lots that I purchased. And we have a 67 Dodgers team card and a 5. And we're almost done the first row. A 66 Topps rub-offs and a 5. A 66 Topps NL strikeout leaders, Koufax, Wheel Gibson, and a 1. The thing is, this is the Venezuela release, so exceedingly hard to find these. And this is the 66 Venezuela ERA leaders, Koufax, Marichal, Law, also in a 1, Venezuela release. This is the regular Topps release of strikeout leaders in 2.5. There's several of these. 7, 5, 5 miscut, 3, and a 2. You have, so again, you have 2, 3, 5 miscut, full on 5, and a really nice 7. That's his last full portrait card, Topps card. He retired after the 66 season. Here's 65 Topps transfers in 1.5. You know, 65 Topps embossed in a 7. And also in a 5. These are really inexpensive ones. Any stars from 65 that you want, that's a good way to go to find the cards inexpensively. Here's a 65 Topps Koufax authenticated auto. Nice on-card auto there. And let's see. Just trying to be a little consistent in how I'm showing things. All right. So you have the 65 Topps in a 3. And a 4 miscut. Full on 4. And a 7. So if you look at most of these full-on regular issue cards, I believe for all of them I have at least 4, because I have 4 complete sets for Koufax. I'm trying to get some of these back in the box, because we officially went through 1 row. Yeah, we're only a third of the way through the slabs here at this point. And again, since I have a lot of the cards that were issued, I try and look for the oddball ones and just generally the tougher ones to get. Those primarily being, the Venezuela issues, and some of the other just harder ones to get. So next up we have 64 Topps stand-up, 4 miscut, and a 7. Again, another really tough one, 64 Topps Venezuela in a 2. And Venezuela for 64 is a little bit easier to figure out, because you have the black ink, the red here, in comparison to complete red back. The regular Topps issue. Those are just outrageously tough to get and can be really expensive. I've been lucky with some of these pickups. The only reason I'm able to have them. All right, then you have 64 Topps NL pitching leaders and a 3. As you can tell, I'm not loyal to one particular grading company over another. Just show me the card. If it's a good looking card, that's what I'm interested in. So you have 64 Topps National League strikeout leaders. And then there's the 64 Topps Koufax strikes out 15 from the 63 World Series. This is a 6. And this one is in a 4.5. Next up, we have 64 Topps signed on card, obviously. And then we'll have 64 Topps here. So you have one of the better examples of a 1 for 64 Koufax. And you have a 2.5, a 4, and a 5. Those are the 64s. And speaking of oddball, you have 64 Bazooka stamp, authenticated. '63 NL strikeout leaders, Koufax in the upper left. And that was in a 7. This one is the same card in a 5.5. And then this is ERA leaders with Koufax in the red diamond. And a GMA 5. I don't know what that equates to. So inconsistent. 63 Dodgers Big 3. Padres Drysdale Koufax. This one's in a 5. This one's in a 4.5. You have 63 and a 6.5, 4.5, 4, 4, 3, 3. And that is it. So I have 6 of the 63s. So, you know, even the low grade ones are decent examples. All right, moving on. And we're getting to some Fleer action. 63 Fleer in a 6. And a 5. And a 5 miscut. Really bad. And a 4. So I have 4 for the 4 sets. I made the one exception, putting the Fleer in there. This one only did 1 year. Of the full portrait Koufax run. And we have 62 Topps stamps in a 2. '62 strikeout leaders in a 6. Centering is not great on that, but much better on this one than the 4. There are some league leader cards I'm still working on getting. I just kind of put them off for a while. Just because they're not as prevalent as the full portrait, so it's generally easier to find the full portrait cards over the stamp cards. All right, so now we're going to get into the 62 starting with a PSA 3, BBG 3, BBG 4, PSA 4, PSA 5, SGC 5, and a PSA 5.5. So in this particular one, I have ranging from 3 to 5.5. So I think I will eventually get rid of some of the lower grade ones and just focus on the 4 sets. The one exception being his a card that you'll see I have a lot of later on. Right, so those are the 62s. I'm going to try not to knock over my entire box. Next up, we have a 62 post serial, a 3. And this one's also in a 3. And this is authenticated, or authentic, whatever. And we have the 61 NL strikeout leaders in a 6. Obviously Koufax right here. Same card in a 6 as well. Hey, what do you know in a 6? And one final one and a 2.5. Those were one of those things where they came up for next to nothing, so I'll kind of add them to orders if I'm already getting something from a seller. 61 Topps Dodgers Southpaws, Koufax and Padres. This one's in a 6. This one's in a 4. And this one is authentic. It's no good example though. Alrighty. Try and show you the now we're up to 60, or down to 61 Topps, full portrait. Starting off with a 2. And like a lot of these cards, I started with the lower grades and slowly built up, found better grades, and gradually built out the collection that way. Also in a 2, 3, 4, 6, 6, another 6, and the final 6. So give me a second. I am going to put some cards away here. We are down 2 rows with one final big row to come as we finish out the 60s and get back to the 50s Koufax slabs. All right, so those are the 61 Topps. And generally when I put them away, I stack them in order of lowest condition to best condition. And if it's same grade, it's really just about eye appeal for me. So now we need to go over, since 61, 62 is really when Koufax kind of turned it on and became the pitcher, the Hall of Fame pitcher that we know. Every other year, he's pretty much just one card. All right, so now we'll go down to 60 tops. Starting off with a 2.5. And a 3. 3.5. 5. 6. 6. 6.5. And last one is an autographed one. Not the greatest autograph on it, but it's still an autographed 1960 Koufax. 8 total there, one of them being autoed. All right, now we're going to get down to 59 Koufax. So starting off, we have a 3.5, a 5, a 6 miscut, those are actually the better ones I have, because these got out of order for some reason. We have a 1, a 3 with a mark on it. And some of these, it's amazing. You can, I think they found the mark right there. A little bit of red. It's another good way to have nice cards for a lot less money. Here's a mark. There's a mark right up there. And then a full 3. All right, so we have 7 59 Koufax. Now we'll get into the 58s. Starting off with a 1.5. And a 2. Another 2. Yeah, 2.5. 3. And a 4. So those are my 58 Koufax slabs. We're starting to get tougher and tougher years. This 57 is a really tough set overall to try and get. A lot of really good names in it. Just generally a tough set to put together. We're starting off, we have an authentic 57 Koufax. We have a 2. A 4 miscut. We have a straight up 4. You have a 6. Just barely avoided the miscut label. And then a really, really nice 6. Nicely centered 6. So those are the 57 Koufax cards I have. So third year Topps Koufax card. 1957. All right, now we're going to get into 56. So 56, people forget there are 2 variations to the 56. The first one is the grayback, of which I only have one. This is a 2 with a mark. Let's see, on the slab it has grayback, and there it is. That's the grayback version. Whereas this is a 56 and a 1 with a white back. So clear difference in the backs of the cards. So I have one 56 grayback and a 2 with a mark on it somewhere. And then when it comes to the white back, I have a few. There's a 1, there's a 2. And we jump up to a 5. And a 6. And a 6.5. Once you get into these, are just beautiful cards. That's a, close to perfect centering. 9.5 on the centering on that. All right. Now we're coming to the year that I'm sure a lot of you have probably been waiting for, because you see me pick up a few Koufax rookies. Just a few. So let's go through them now, shall we? So starting off, we have just a beat up example of a 1 with a mark on it. There's a crayon or something. This is one of those examples of a poorly graded card because it has a story behind it. I don't know what it is, but one can have fun with just making one up. So I'm gonna have to make a really big screen on this one. So there's one. So that is a PSA 1 with a mark. This is a 1, hugely different in condition. I think this might have been like the first one I ever picked up. 0 major league experience. But it is a Koufax rookie, so I think that was the first one I ever got. And here's a 2. I don't know how this isn't labeled miscut, but it's not. So there's the Koufax rookie in a 2. Here's another example of a 2, a much better example in a 2. Decent centering on it. Example of a 2.5. There's another example of a 2.5. Centering is not as good on this one. Example of a 3. Start pushing cards here. There's another example of a 3. Some nice centering on this one. There's a 3.5. We're slowly going up. So you have to push the 1 row off screen. There's a 4 with a mark. And it's really that right there. This is a recent pickup. Got it below even recent comps, which have been low. Another example of a 4. Much better centering on it. This is an example of a card that just, it's an off-brand, but it seems, to my eye, in comparison to the others, to be hugely undergraded. The GAI 4. The back is much more off-center than the front. two more. Here's a 5. And one last one in a 5. So all in all, I have 14 Sandy Koufax 1955 Topps rookie cards. Again, it's one of those cards that has been incredibly undervalued, especially in recent years. And if you're able to, you can pick one up in low grade. The rule of thumb that I personally have been going with that seems to be working, and doesn't mean everybody's going to accept the offers, but in order for me to get at a decent price, is I basically assign $100 per grade, so as my max. So 5, I'd be willing to do up to $100 or up to $500. Whereas on a 1, I'll do $100. And then if it's miscut, then I'll deduct 1 or 2 grades depending on how bad the miscut is. If it has a mark, generally it's a full grade. Sometimes I'll do a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, if it really doesn't impact the card. But that's generally been my kind of buying philosophy with Koufax rookies. And while it doesn't work all the time, it clearly works, has worked a number of times for me. So all in all, these cards, I have some money in them, which is obvious, but not nearly as much as some would think, as most would think. So I just try and be reasonable in kind of going after some of these cards. A good example is, so this one you saw I picked up not long ago, and this is an example of, as I showed you, the mark is very, very small. It's a nominal mark. And that was $300. This is a PSA 4 with the mark designation on it, which the mark designation is iffy. I've seen cards not get it with that type of rubbing, if you will. So, and this one, this is an undergraded card, so that could easily be my highest graded if I switched it over, which I don't plan on doing right now. But that is the long-awaited Koufax Slab review of my collection. It's taken 40 minutes to go through it, which is why I've been pushing it off for so long. But it's fairly comprehensive. Again, I do have some missing pieces on the way, and I will probably be selling off 1 or 2 cards, because my goal is to have the 4 sets, 3 of which being just the primary card sets, so the full portrait card sets from during his playing days, while 1 is going to be the every example that I can find, whether it's league leaders, some of the other within top sets, some of the stickers, tattoos, off brands, posts, everything. Trying to have one like master set, if you will. So that's the Koufax collection. Hope you enjoyed kind of seeing everything in one video this time around. I know a lot of you have been asking for it, and there's really nothing much to add. In another video, one of these days, I'll go over some of the non-slabbed cards, which includes a lot of autos and inserts and 1 or 2 plates and all kinds of interesting things. So that's all I got for you this time around. And until next time, please remember, to collect what you enjoy what you collect, and don't let anybody, especially the market or a YouTuber, dictate that to you. And most importantly, have fun. Have fun and be an active member of this community. And you got to find your way to participate, whether it's making videos, watching and commenting, going to live streams, group chats, going to your LCS local card show, or simply talking about the hobby with family and friends. The more you put into this community, the more you'll get out of it. There's a tremendous amount to learn from other people. There's a lot of great cards to see from other people. This is prime example. This is, I consider, a good collection, but by no means is it a top tier collection from what I've seen. And the most important part of it is you can meet a heck of a lot of great people and make some tremendous friends within this community. So that's what I got for you this time around. I thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you again. Have a good one, and bye for now.